What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Oh my goodness, I don't think y'all have ever requested a video more than you've requested this one. You guys have wanted to see me film this video for quite a while now, and I'm finally getting the chance to sit down and film it just for you. As you can probably tell by the title, I am reading my childhood writing. It's gonna be sucky, it's gonna be super bad, but I wrote it when I was a kid, so like, give me some grace, okay? So the thing is, I started writing at a pretty young age. I was never super serious about it, obviously, because I was still pretty little, but I definitely would write a book here and there. A book. I was pretty proud of the work that I was doing back then. I would typically read books because I was an avid reader, and I would get really hooked into the storyline, but because I had just read a book that had gotten me feeling that way in the first place, I would basically write another book that was exactly the same, just with different characters. I was a kid, you know? That's what I did. But right now, I have two books for y'all. The first one is one that I wrote quite a while ago. I don't know exactly when this was written, but I'm pretty sure it's got the year on here somewhere. And then the second one I wrote probably about 6 years ago, 6 or 7. But I've had a major maturity change, not only in life, but also just in writing in general. So this writing is bad, and it also copies another book, so it's not really like 100% original and true to me. But we're just gonna not stall too much longer and just get into it. I'm also sitting on my bed, cause why not? And it's currently 10 o'clock at night, so the lighting is just, it's nighttime, okay? Let's move on. So first off, I wrote this book 9 years ago. I would have been, how old am I? 9 years old. Yeah. Okay, so I was 9 years old when I wrote this. For some reason, I always got mad at my mom when she would put dates on things, and I'm like, why do you need to put the dates on things? It's not that important. But now it's proven really helpful, and I'm glad she did that. Let's talk about this cover though. It's pretty beautiful, don't you think? I really wanted to publish it. So I made this out of duct tape and thought it just looks really nice. So there's that. I taped all of the pages on the inside, so it's a little scraggly and some of them stick out like real far. Funny enough, my current book that I actually published also is red. So there's one theme. The font that I chose for this is this chalkboard school font. Love that. All right, so I have a dedication to start off with. It is dedicated to my dearest sisters for the love and mercy they have given. Let's keep in mind I was 9, but if you can't already tell from this book once I start reading it, I had just read a diary of a little Indian girl that was totally fictional. So there are very Indian names in the book, but in the book that I read, they're good Indian names. These are gonna be interesting. Let's just start, okay? I was sitting in front of the teepee crying. Oh, there's a typo on the first sentence. I'm sorry, I read it wrong. Let me start again. I was sitting in front of teepee crying. Oh my gosh. I was sitting in front of teepee crying. My mother told me I had to go to the Carlisle Indian School. Now I will say I spelled Carlisle right, so being 9 years old, I definitely had a knack for spelling, and I'm proud. That was a place where us Indians are taught the English ways. Though my father told me it helped us Indians with contracts and stuff, naturally, I was pretty sure that it was not a friendly place. I was also homeschooled, so there's a lot of themes. My Tiblo, older brother, was not going. That was a letdown. Let's actually look up what Tiblo means and see if I got it right. The first thing that pops up, Tiblo lets dyslexic kids snap words and sounds together like Legos. Wait, what? It's a tangible learning aid for children with dyslexia. Okay, so I'm not sure where I got Tiblo from, but it's definitely not an Indian word. We'll just leave it at that. My mother peeked out the front. She sighed and tenderly remarked, "Honey, I wouldn't make you do this if it wasn't the right thing to do. Your father and I have been talking about this. It would help us and our tribe. You would be the friend to go between us." I was upset, but I know my mother is right. My mother came out of the teepee. Again? Wasn't she just out of the teepee? It's time to go to bed. All night I was thinking about what Carlisle Indian School would be like. It's morning time, get up and get dressed and wake to a new day. That was the town crier. That was also a very, very interesting paragraph. Did I forget to mention this was on June 21st, 1765? That's a long time ago. It was a pain because he always yelled so the whole camp heard him. It was also a pain that I had to get up when he cried a new day. I hate when I have to get up because my town crier cries a new day. It's a big pain. My mother came out and sang thanks to the Creator for the new day. My day is here. My day to go to Carlisle Indian School. First, my mother mounted me on Starlight, our horse. Then she got on the front of Starlight and rode Starlight to the tall building. She had tears in her eyes when she dismounted. She helped me dismount as well. She kissed me and with a firm grip and hugged me. Alright. She let go gently. I was so sad. I wanted to know where my father was. Yeah, where is your daddy? I looked into her teary eyes and asked, "Where's Dad?" She silently whispered, "Your father died last night." Can we just talk about the fact that her mom is still sending her to school when her dad, died that night and she, wasn't gonna tell her? Or... Tears fell down her eyes. I remembered father died because of leukemia. He got it last summer and it did not stop. I was so sad that I just found out. Wait, so she remembered her father died because of leukemia, but she just found out that he died last night? What? So basically, she goes inside the school, and the first thing that they do is they grab her, pull her arm, and sit her down on this thing that they called a toilet. Okay? She screamed, and someone slaps her, so they put her... Oh! They were showing her how to use the toilet. That's good. Oh, this is gonna be a long one. I knew what they were up to, so I screamed. But one slapped me, because that's what they do at schools. One started to put scissors near my hair. I screamed again. One of the tough boys came over and looked me in the eye and smacked me. It stung where he slapped me. I pulled, but the girl right next to me pushed me. The girl holding the scissors groaned. She handed the scissors to the boy. The boy cracked his fingers and started cutting my hair. I was about to scream, but the boy knew what was coming and covered my mouth. He continued to cut my hair with one hand. I was furious. I hated the sound of the scissors cutting my beautiful long hair. Once he was done with my hair, it was short and lopsided. You know, barbers, they can never do it right. One of the girls came over with a sigh. She took the scissors and fixed the lopsided hair. I let her fix my hair. I would rather my hair be fixed anyways. I wanted to talk, so I did. Why are you cutting my hair? She stared at me like I was crazy. I remembered that they don't understand our language because we talk with our hands using sign language. Oh. In theory, if you're an Indian going to school to learn English, they would know that Indians typically come to that school since it's called Carlisle Indian School. So typically they would know that you're not going to speak the same language because you're coming there to learn. But they looked at her like she was crazy. Okay, so basically she is brought to this lady wearing red clothes. So her name is now Red Cloth Lady, naturally. So she sits this girl down and teaches her a few of her words and teaches her some of her language. Then when she's finished, this girl spots her friend, Red Road. There's lots of reds in this. Reminds me of something. So she sees her friend Red Road and starts talking her language to her friend, but Red Cloth Lady doesn't like this and looks at her, quote, really stern-like, because she knows that she's supposed to talk in their language, English. Red Road, I asked, because I learned red and road. That's some first class. Today we're going to learn the signs red and road. And she has a friend named Red Road. That's really convenient. So she says to Red Road, I don't like it here. Red Road answered, I know that it's not so nice here, but don't worry. I have been here a long time, so hopefully you know what I am saying. So because Red Road has been there for a long time, the other girl should know exactly what she's saying. I knew what she was talking about because we stayed in class all day. Oh good. Red Cloth Lady gave us a paper about all the words we were taught. Should you and I like it here? I asked. Red Road answered, no, we should like it here. I think we should like it here. Besides their teaching us English ways, what's so good about this place? I grumbled. Red Road sighed and tried to explain. It teaches us the English ways. Very good explanation. I cocked my head. Red Road knew N-E-W, what I meant and tried to explain. Well, we are being taught the English ways. She just said that. And that will help us sign contracts. We can be our people's friend to go between us. I love how this is all about women or little children going to school, little girl children going to school to learn how to sign contracts. In theory, I do have something there because Indians did used to sign contracts and they didn't know what they meant because they were in English and they couldn't speak English, so like technically I learned something and I'm trying to display it here, but I don't know if it's coming through. So basically the next day she's sad that the town crier didn't come through, unfortunate. They follow Red Cloth Lady into this room, which is basically just a classroom, and then it says, oh, and I forgot to tell you that I met some people in my room today. I met Dora Morning and Belle Rainwater. The names are really original, so gotta hand it to myself for that. When we went into the classroom, Red Cloth Lady led us to our seats. We began the usual as they've been there for 2 whole days, when boom, chicka, no, let me read that again. Pop chicka boom! I screamed and ran out of the room. Some people ran into the room I was in and carried me off, placing me in a room. They put me in a chair. I screamed again. They put a light over me and I was fast asleep. I know that when I need to sleep, I just turn a light on myself and it helps me go to sleep real fast. So basically this boom happens again. She wakes up and she sees Red Road and Belle Rainwater and Dora Morning standing above her. She realized that the head of the school, Mrs. Campbell, not Campbell, it's Campbell, was standing over her as well. She's hurting all over, her head is pounding, she can't move her left leg without hurting, and she asks basically what happened. Basically, her friend Red Road asks her if she remembers any English, and she said she doesn't remember any English at all, and she has to teach her all of the English that she forgot. Okay, so the camera died, the angles might have changed a little bit, let's move on. So basically there is zero explanation for what happened to the character in the story whose name we still don't know. They just say, oh, she forgot all of the English that she learned, all of that English that she learned in that last day, and they're going to teach her all of it again. So the head of the school, Mrs. Campbell, asks her if she knows where she is, and she says no. So she says, you are in the infirmary, to which this character responds, what? That's the hospital. Oh, at least she knows. So it continues. What had really happened to me? I really wanted to know. So I asked, and she answered. Oh, good. Well, this is actually hard to explain. Well, you see, it actually says, well, you see, some people were walking by and Mrs. Campbell, the head of the school, saw them. She also saw a gun in their hands. They decided they would shoot the building and make us pay for the building. I overheard them talking and they planned to be hired for the job of selling bricks to fix the building. I told Mrs. Campbell, but before she got there, they fired. The bullet went through the building and into your leg. I was so shocked I screamed. The infirmary nurses came in and Mrs. Campbell told something to Belle Rainwater and they left. The nurses came and they put a light on the wrapped thing, R-A-P-P-E-D, and, well, it is exhausting to explain. It's exhausting to explain. Exhausting. So the next day, she writes, I could not believe that I had been shot in the leg. Let's dissect this for a moment. So these men just decide one day, hey, let's shoot Carlisle Indian School so that we can sell bricks to them so we can get paid for basically ruining their building, but also then fixing it. Solid. Solid. So the next day she writes, I could not believe that I had been shot in the leg. It was upsetting. It's upsetting when you get shot in the leg. I did not know what to do with that leg. I still remembered the terrible pop chicka boom that had occurred. Then that night I had the most terrible dream. It is so bad and harsh, I must not tell. I fear that for any children that get a sneak peek will die if they have seen what I have written about my dream. Was that a real sentence? Okay. Today, Red Road was my friend to go between us. When we went to our classroom, there was a new student. His name was Talks with Bears. Red Road told me that Red Cloth Lady said for me to make a suitable shirt for him. I asked how I was, of all the people here, going to make a shirt for Talks with Bears. So basically they're going to give her a sewing lesson in the sewing class. So they went to a room with Woman Who Screams a Lot and did cooking stuff. They were going to teach her sewing, so she went to a room with Woman Who Screams a Lot and learned how to cook. So then she looks over and she sees a tiny hole. A tiny little mouse popped out of it. I remembered that my father told me that I needed to look out for my spirit guide. An animal, of course. Gotta go now, I'll write more later. Oh, good. So this is June 27th, 4 days later. I am still worried about that mouse. Woman Who Screams a Lot has told everybody that whoever sees that mouse again will take a knife and kill it. If they do, they won't have to wash pots for a month. I am scared. I had a dream last night. My spirit guide came to me, and then all of a sudden he told me that I won't be with him anymore, but not to worry. What is that supposed to mean? Oh well, time for me to sew that shirt for Talks with Bears. Who's the spirit guide? Your mouse? Oh, he told her that he won't be with her anymore. Yeah, that's definitely the mouse. Sorry to break it to you, but the mouse is probably gonna die. 2 days later, she writes, I forgot to tell you how I got this diary, because we'd love to know. It is funny, but Red Cloth Lady gave me this diary. Hilarious. And I bet you can guess what color this diary is. Yes, you guessed it. Red. Ha ha ha. Funny, huh? Bye for now. I love how she has to include that, because, like, obviously if we're reading it, we're holding it. Like, guess what color it is? It's red. Surprise. Bye for now. On July 1st, I don't know, 3 days later? She writes, I love writing the events in my diary. It seems to calm me down, and it helps me a lot with remembering stuff from that certain time and place and date. It's like my best friend. I just love it. Well, I met another girl, and her name is Susie King. For the first, oh my gosh, King, huh? Susie King. Wow. King, for those of you who don't know, is my main character's last name in my current book, Red Aberrant. The ties with all the red and the king and even the red like inside the story, like, wow, I'm just now noticing that. That is kind of cool. Kind of cool. So we finally got a regular name. Her name is Susie King. She is really nice and, well, nice. That's what it says. She is now my new best friend, Susie King. Why does it have her name twice? I literally thought maybe I just read the same thing over again, but no. Love that. Dora Morning and Belle Rainwater and me, we all went outside to take a walk. All of the people in our room, Belle Rainwater, Susie King, and Dora Morning, do all the same things at the same time. It is our duties. He said duties. Well, that is what Red Cloth Lady says. Today we went out to take a walk. So we said. We saw our, A-R-E, chance to escape. I could not run, but Belle Rainwater was strong enough to carry me and run. Oh, I thought she said that they liked this place, but now they're running away from it because suddenly they don't like it? I'm confused where they stand. I don't know. So her leg is shot, but this girl is picking her up and carrying her and running with her because they went on a walk and they saw their chance to escape. Okay, she did not want to hurt my leg, but she also could not pick me up any other way besides holding my legs and running. Well, that's gonna hurt. So basically, they are running away. They're trying to find a place to stop. This girl asks, so when are we going to stop? And Susie, who had not been talking, came over and whispered, do not worry, child. We will stop and rest soon enough. And she was surprised by her lovely voice. Because when you become best friends with someone, you don't typically know what their voice sounds like before you become best friends with them. How old are you? I wondered. She responded with a cheerful attitude. I am 18 years old. Wow, I was taken by surprise. Okay, I'm 18. It's not that old. Chill out. Wow, you're 18 years old? You're old. May I hold her now? Susie asked. Belle Rainwater eagerly agreed and handed me over to Susie King. We stopped and Susie King put me down on a shaded spot. How old are you? She asked. I am 6 old. She frowned and said to the other ones that somebody had to take care of me. She didn't want me to have to take care of myself. It is ought ear, Susie King. Dora Morning and Belle Rainwater all looked at the sun. She's right, Dora Morning agreed. It is ought. I thought she was a lot older than 6. She kind of changed all of a sudden, don't you think? She's being sent to this Indian school to learn how to speak English so that she might be able to sign contracts eventually for her family and stuff. But she's 6. Oh. Honestly, I don't know. She's right, Dora Morning agreed. It is ought, she joked. I started crying from the unbearable heat and from Dora Morning making that terrible ought joke. Well, you're the one who said it. 6 years old. Susie King looked and frowned at Dora Morning. Dora Morning looked at her shoes. Belle Rainwater patted her shoulder. Don't worry, she said. All we need is some shade to cool the little one down. I love how everyone's like suddenly so much older than her. I don't even know. Why don't you put down that red book you have there? Belle Rainwater reached out to grab my diary. I squealed with delight. This was a fun game. Oh, honey. Okay, basically, they go to bed. I did use the word chorused because they both said goodnight in chorus. So, got that going for me at 9 years old. So, it's the next day, July 2nd. It says, throughout the night, I heard my sisters and my mommy whispering, aka Dora, Belle, whatever the other one's name is, and Susie, the mommy, I suppose. One of them quite frightened me. Do you think there are any robbers here? Dora asked. Dora Morning, you are filling your head with nonsense, I heard Susie King answer sharply, because she's 18 years old and she's a mommy now. Don't fret, it will be okay. I did not know what she said, but her soft voice calmed me. So she heard what they were talking about, but she had no clue what they said? Okay. So basically she talks about how it's hot. So there we go. 2 days later on July 4th. The next morning we were headed for the Smoky Mountains. The mountains were the first mountains that the Sioux Indians found. I also spelled Sioux correctly because I was 9 years old and I was obsessed with spelling. Although I couldn't spell, what was it, exhausted? I don't know. I had selective spelling skills. Clearly. They thought the mountains were going to get angry at them if they did not give them a present for the mountains to use on their journey. I don't know why the Sioux Indians did that. They were just trying to please the mountain spirits, I think. I was also real into Indians at this time, if you didn't already tell. July 7th, 3 days later. The next morning, so even though it says it was 3 days later, the next morning. Keep up. The next morning we were headed to the Valley of Many Bushes. These were the bushes of lots of fruits. These fruits were the fruits that gave you lots of nourishment. We started to pick the berries when, hurry everybody, start toward the bushes, Susie screamed. We did not know what made Susie so scared in her voice, but obeyed because she was the only elder. She's 18 years old, okay? Stop making me feel like an elder. Hurry up, everybody. Go, 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 Susie screamed. Once more, I started crying naturally. I scared, I whined. Go, Susie screamed as loud as she could. I was terrified and stared, along with my crying. I think I meant started. It was one of those days where you don't know why, but you start crying for no reason. Honestly, I have those days a lot now. Relatable. Then roar! I screamed, again realizing what had happened. A giant bear started rumbling down the path that we were running on. Rumbling. I think this would be a really convenient time to have Talks with Bears come back on. So she grabs on to her friends and the bear is chasing them. Mrs. Campbell shows up suddenly and says, keep that little one safe, because she's all about the little 6-year-old now. Belle was staring in horror. Run, she said. No, Mrs. Campbell shouted. I won't hurt you all. I want to protect you all. Why would she think she's gonna hurt them? She shouted over the terrible roar of the bear. Bale. Mrs. Campbell to the rescue, I shouted. I started wiggling in Susie's arms. Down, I yelled. Susie said no very firmly. I shouted, wee! I was flying. Wee! I shouted, wee! We were running from the bear. I gathered that. We had not gone as far as we thought. We had gone maybe 15 miles. We defiantly had not gone as far as we thought. We were almost there when... July 8th, the next day. I was interrupted. We were getting ready to come in and it started raining. My pages were getting wet. The pages in my diary, of course. Then it started downpouring and my pages were sopping. They started to get ruined. So, well, gotta go. Her answer to everything is, I'm sorry, I've gotta go. July 9th. The next day. We are now back at Carlisle Indian School. Sigh. Boring. Today, woman who screams a lot came into our room. She took us to her kitchen. She pointed to the door and a young girl came in and stood glaring at us. She had a snooty face as she came towards us. I know what that looks like too. Susie came closer to me to comfort me. She is a great, and I mean great, friend. So meanwhile, this girl is staring at them with an obnoxious stare. This is Wanani. Woman who screams a lot said, I knew that from our language. Wanani meant girl with large eyes. Let's actually look up what that means, shall we? Okay, there is this SparkNotes article that says someone named Wanani, girl with large eyes. Okay, I'll give myself that one. Oh, it says so, and then nothing. We're moving on to the next day. I am now in the infirmary. I had a sudden blackout. While I was being taken to this infirmary by the docs, I fell and collapsed on the floor. The docs, instead of doctors, the docs took me by the arm and led me here. Now I am safe in the infirmary chair. I do remember thinking that they had just like a chair in the middle of like a blank room as opposed to some sort of bed. Red Road came in and started talking to me in our language with our hands. She said that if I were here, then I would miss my classes and I would not understand what some of the words Mrs. Campbell speaks. That's English. And she also said that oh my gosh, she just said that she loved me enough to be my mother. I always wanted my mother to be Susie King. As of like 2 days ago. Oh well, she can be my secondary mother. Ha ha ha. I guess. Okay. What? Well, anyway, I was just sitting here and thinking about how the docs could carry me, for I am very heavy, at the ripe age of 6. Ha ha ha, you would have thought that was a joke if you saw me. But that is not a joke, for I would not lie to anybody. So anyway, back to my story. So then there was this beautiful and soft sound behind the door, and then a beautiful and soft knock on the door, and then came a beautiful and soft looking face peeking from the behind the door. It was Susie. Wasn't she just in your room? What? She looked beautiful. She looked beautiful, I tell you. I loved the way she looks. I love her face and her calmness. And then she came towards me and sang something I could not understand. Her voice was so beautiful. Oh, goodness gracious. Her voice rang out into the clear, cool room. Red Road then left the room, her beautiful moccasins swiftly moving across the floor. She was so beautiful. At that moment, I remembered that father had wanted Red Road to be his beautiful secondary wife. Her mother was jealous and did not want her to be his secondary wife. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now bringing polygamy into the equation. Then mother came into the room. Is she beautiful as well? Or I had not seen her for so long. Her beautiful voice rang out, "Let's go home." The end. You know, that kind of ending is just one of those where I got sick of writing the book and I thought, what would make this just a beautiful ending? How about her mother comes and takes her home? I don't even know. I don't even know. So there you go. That is my entire Indian book that I wrote when I was 9 years old. I would love to read you my second book. It is pretty long as well, and I think time is not coming to an end. My time is not coming to an end. Hang on. Let me rephrase that. Time is running out. I need to go to bed. But I will read this one to you in a later video for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's really fun and ridiculous to read my old writing, I know, but I do have a couple more stories for you. So if you want to see a part 2, maybe a part 3, then go ahead and like this video, subscribe. I hope you have a great night or a great day or whenever it is that you're watching this, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!